And the number one thing that everybody kept saying is like, man, you're so transparent. You a martyr. And I was just thinking to myself at the time, like, man, it's crazy. You just tell the truth and people act like this. I don't even understand. Now, almost 7 years later, it is because we have been not only systematically manipulated, but we've been mentally manipulated by the overall character of this country.
And we're back with another episode of Fuck You Money with Ty and Yo. My man Ty, I'm Yo. And we are back with another episode. We're in Atlanta.
ATL.
You know, you had a conversation earlier today that sort of inspired today's conversation.
Right.
Can you walk the people through just what you were thinking?
Working in business with other, I guess you would say, multicultural people or Black people,
Mm-hmm.
you get into the thought process of how information needs to be shared and discovered.
Yep.
And what I've learned is that in business, personal is probably as well, but I'm not going to address personal. I'm really talking about business and career paths. I've noticed that we gatekeep information from each other because unconsciously we've had information gatekeep from us historically.
Yeah.
Right? You know how they say, oh, you got diabetes because it runs in the family, right? Technically, diabetes is not something that runs in the family, but it does runs in the family's eating habit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? High blood pressure technically can't, I ain't gonna say it can't because I'm not a doctor,
Right.
but studies have found that high blood pressure is based on how what you're eating.
Yeah.
Right?
Not quite genetics.
Not quite genetics.
Yeah.
But the genetic part is that the person that you are getting breastfed from, that the seeds are being planted, and over time you're eating the same way they're eating. So whatever they're suffering from, that is based off of food intake, you're gonna suffer from that at some point. May not show when you're 15 or you're 13 because you got high
over time.
But over time it shows, right?
Someone once told me, I don't want to cut you off,
Yeah,
but any habit that becomes generational becomes DNA.
Yes.
It becomes a part of your DNA.
Yes.
And you think misinformation can be a part of the DNA of the way we think about business?
It has become a part of our DNA.
Yes, sir.
And the Black industry, the Black community, we have been gatekept and systematically kept out of information for so long that keeping information from each other runs in our DNA. And that is what I experienced working with Black people. That's why you hear Black people say it's so hard to work with Black people.
Mm-hmm.
It's not because all Black people are bad. It's not because, we're just like out here like, I don't care about none of that. We unconsciously, in our DNA, withhold important information from whoever we're working with that is Black. Sometimes on purpose, and sometimes it's unconscious because of how we operate, that we can't progress together.
Right.
So instead of a Black person saying, you know what? I know what's going on. They're withholding information. Let me talk to them more in a way that I can let them know that I've figured out your withholding information. Is that true? Let me figure this thing out. Instead of doing that, they just go work with a white man. Because with the white man or another community, they're going to give you all the information that you need to do what they need you to do. They're not going to open up the doors and just give you all the information.
No. But
they're going to give you more information than your own people will. Because they need you to do something specifically if they've opened you up. That's a operator. That's what operators do. Operators know, I don't care what your race is. But if you come over here, I need you to have the right information to be able to do what you're going to do, right? Mind you, I'm not white. so I don't operate in the white worlds. I just have to go based off of historically how successful they have been than Black people, and knowing that that success is off the backs of Black people not having even playing field because of the lack of information, the lack of resources,
Right.
the lack of, freedom and liberation in certain career fields,
Now, when did you kind of realize how much misinformation was just a part of the conversations you were having with other business people?
Today.
Just today was like a real
I've
realization.
always known that, like, not having communication, clarity
Clarity is the word for sure.
in those different things, it will cause problems. But today, on my mother's birthday, in 2024, I realized that Black people have been the victims of not getting information for so long that now withholding information from their own people is part of our DNA,
Yeah.
which is very sad.
I was about to say, this is sad and it's very frustrating.
Yeah.
Because how do you, I guess you think about just like the state of slavery, not being able to read and write,
Right,
strictly not being able to be taught.
right.
But you're building the country. You're building the infrastructure. You're building the businesses in which this country is going to thrive off of, but you can't read nor write. How does that translate 400 years later, 500 years later?
How that translate is you have the same spending power, and the same people are still manipulating you, even though you can read or write. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
In 2017, I want to say it was October when we did the first interview, and it went viral throughout the industry. We still to this day don't know how big of an impact that was because we never really had the data, right? The number one thing people would say is like, man, he's just so transparent. Today, I understand how problematic that is.
Wow.
The fact that I wasn't telling people dirty secrets.
No.
I literally was just saying, hey, I walked into this door, I sat down, I sat across from this guy named L.A. Reid, and we started having a conversation. He was telling me and L.A. Reid wasn't in the room by ourselves. It was me, it was other people there. And the number one thing that everybody kept saying is like, man, you're so transparent. You a martyr. And I was just thinking to myself at the time, like, man, it's crazy. You just tell the truth and people act like this. I don't even understand. Now, almost 7 years later, it is because we have been not only systematically manipulated, but we've been mentally manipulated by the overall character of this country and the character of all of the people that are listed as oppressors. Rather you was a Black person with slaves or you're a white person with slaves. If you was a Mexican person with slaves, you are an oppressor. And I really think that now it's in our DNA, and I don't know how that's going to change.
Something that I want to know. You wrote the first interview. I didn't work for a Black publication.
Right.
Right. But I remember when you asked me to get that data, it never occurred to me that I did not know the information of the way my articles were spreading, because that was just a conversation we never had. I was fine in the position to write and publish, but when it came to getting hard facts, that was like none of my business. So I didn't understand how impactful that was until I realized that I did not know how far that thing had traveled. That's one article.
Yes.
So I can't imagine having more data, more information, and me being Black. Imagine if I had that information I didn't tell you. Right? Imagine they told me, I was like, dang, I know how many people read this. I know what sectors this has done the best at. And Ty want to know, but Ty don't work with us.
Right.
Let me not tell Ty. that would have been crazy.
1,000%.
But it would have been, to me, almost like grooming. Like, you're okay to know because you're over here with us.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go tell him. He's not a part of our company. He's not a part of our business.
Mm-hmm.
But it would have made a lot of sense for us, especially with a story like that, where this person has opened up to us about his business.
Mm-hmm.
We posted on this website. It spreads. If I had the information and you had the information, imagine how many more articles we could have did.
Mm-hmm.
And like have the data to know this is going to do well because of these factors.
Right.
We didn't have it. We were shooting in the dark with Culture Playbook too. The Culture Playbook, just the articles.
Yes, the essays.
But the cool part was, again, we were in LA and you were transparent again about everything from the last conversation up to how you built the $30,000, the middle class artist. Like, all of these ideas were very honest, transparent things you were sharing with me. Again, despite us not having data for the first one. Just again, imagine if you had all the information, how much more you could have been like, hey, yo, we're going to talk about this specifically because I know the first piece did this well for these reasons.
Yeah.
So I just felt like misinformation, not just misinformation, not having information, you're shooting in the dark.
Yeah. See, I'm on day 21. I'm on day 20 of this 20-day fast that I was telling you about.
Yes, sir.
The liquid fast, where it's water, coconut water, and fresh pressed juice only. And that clarity of all this information stuff just happened today. And I'm like on my last day, and I'm just like, wow, this is actually sad. It's like when something is embedded into the DNA, it's showing. It's just so telling.
It appears.
Right? And so now in my brain, I'm like, man, like you said, I'll sit down and tell everybody everything. The only thing that stops me from telling everybody everything has nothing to do with me being like, oh, I can't, I want to oppress you, right?
Yeah.
It's two things. One, I have confidential information about people's lives, which would not be fair to share with other people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Two, I will put a target on my back if I start telling people too much information about things that go on from a business perspective, right?
Yeah.
It's just, that's the world that has been created that I just so happen to live in, right? So I have to be integral with the information that people share with me confidentially. Then I have to be mindful of any target you might put on your back by, sitting in front of something and saying a whole bunch of information that now, you can't travel because if you leave your house for too long, people know what's going on with your house and now you're targeted, right? So I'm just mindful of being targeted in general. So the information can put a target on you. So I try to make it about information that I feel like I did not have. And it ain't really got nothing to do with a dollar amount. More so than to do with like processing procedures, transparent information. So I can give you all of the information in the world without talking about a dollar amount. I can tell you what bank you need to use, how you need to go about building your credit, that, like, without talking about actual cash value or something, right?
Yeah.
And so today, I was like, dang, this is sad. Tomorrow, I might not even give a fuck because I'm like, man, you know what? I'm gonna just keep doing what I'm doing to keep doing my small part in my walk of life of not letting the DNA thing affect me, right? There's one thing to be when people are like, oh, you didn't introduce me to this person, right? Introducing somebody to somebody is a completely different game than giving them all of the information that you know.
Informing. Yeah.
Because I can take the information and like really build on it. I can meet somebody and they might not even really like me. You know what I'm saying? We might not even have kindred spirits.
Yeah.
But if I get information, I can take that information, I can have my own dough, and I can build my own type of castle. I can put the efforts into it. But, people get so hung up, and I get the introduction aspects of things is important as well. But I just don't think it's more important than the information.
Well, I think the reason why people perceive a person is what I need. Like, if I can get to that person, it's because this person has achieved something that I haven't, and I haven't realized that their achievement is based on how much information
Right.
they might have had, or
Right.
their proximity to the right information.
Right.
So I might be looking at it from the wrong point of view, right? Somebody might look at the culture playbook and say, I need to talk to Ty. Although you might tell them exactly what's in the book, right?
Verbatim.
I might just break down the exact thing you're looking to, but they might think I need Ty. It has to be the person.
It is the value placed on the person versus the information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? Because you want to meet the person because you think you want to feel connected to the person. You want whatever the reason is, right?
Yeah.
I always tell people this example, right? I met Hove, but I really was trying to meet Tata.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, man, he's like capturing so much information by being around.
You gotta be soaking it up.
Right? So I'm like, I don't know how I can further a relationship with Jay-Z, but I know how I can further a relationship with Tata. Because we are coming from the same vantage point when you come up. I'm never an artist. I'm never going to be an artist. Don't matter if I drop an album tomorrow, I'm still not an artist. So for me, that relationship of like getting connected with Tata was more important than me meeting a celebrity. And so as I'm learning, I'm like, he ain't got no Instagram. Like, I'm just learning all these
things about
things.
this guy, right?
To therapy was telling me about how it made me understand what therapy was really for at that level. And I would learn things from that conversation in the same way I would learn from Jay Irvin or Troy Carter. Like, I would learn from all of these different individuals, Steve Stout.
But you didn't place value on the person.
No, because I read Stout book before I met him.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I read L.A. Reid book before I met him. I never met David Geffen. I read his book. I never really met Russell Simmons. I read his book. So I'm reading all of this information and I'm applying it. I'm researching all of these different success story, case studies, and I'm applying it. I just so happen to meet these, like, you know what I'm saying?
The fact that you met them is a byproduct of you doing the work.
That literally is something that is only a God thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, so when I meet somebody and I've done all of the work, I didn't meet them because I was seeking them out. I met them because there was something that I was doing that caused them to want to open up time. But it all came from me having the information.
Yeah.
And taking the information and putting my twist to it.
Yeah.
Black people do it with everything else.
Absolutely.
You give us Kool-Aid, you give us ramen noodles, you give us the scraps.
Yeah.
We put our twist to it.
Every time.
So that's why it's so dangerous when we have information. And it's also dangerous for our growth if we don't have it. Because our superpower is putting twist on shit.
Yeah.
So that we can try to catch up.
Yeah.
So when I'm thinking about my personal walk of life, I've had experiences when people put me on game that I didn't know about. But my foundation came from being able to get information. Not meet somebody that is successful necessarily. My first mentor was a real estate agent. I ain't gonna say he was a multi-million-dollar real estate agent. He had a small office in Riverdale. And, we was able to go to his office, connect, learn how to incorporate businesses. What does commodity trading look like? Even if I don't think they ever closed a deal while I was around, but I saw the process of what that was, the value of it, and how much they was chasing it.
I was rereading a transcript about they were talking about the diamond deals, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but I also felt like you never mentioned them closing like deals,
No, I
and
never.
I was when I was like, well, they didn't close deals, but why does Ty seem like he learned so much?
I never noted. I never knew if they closed the deal or not, but they was constantly on the phone, sending LOIs, all these different things. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And so that information, man, it is what we put our special on. And it's
Yeah,
that's the twist that we have. We do it with clothes, we do it with cars,
yeah.
we do it with
Music,
music, we do it with everything that we can put our hands on.
yeah,
That's why we create culture. That's why we are the most sought after cultural relevant humans on this earth. And that's just the reality of it.
that's the spin.
And so when we don't have the foundation to put the twist on,
Mhm.
we're lost.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
and we're already behind.
And you're already behind.
Lost and being behind, how can you arrive? How can you get there? How can you change your bloodline? How can you change your DNA?
Right.
And like not even change your DNA to be more European or be more white. Change your DNA to be more healthy, be black. Because again, if you take the same mentality of what gets passed down becomes DNA, what if you pass down all the right eating habits,
Right.
all the right ways of sharing information? Then the people that put the twist on it in 30, 40, 50 years are actually doing it without scraps, but doing it with abundance.
Yeah. If God blessed me to have kids, I'm gonna teach my kids the importance of fasting when it relates to their body
Mhm.
and the importance of fasting when it relates to their manifestation and what they want their life to look like.
Break it down for me.
First, I'm gonna teach them that eating is important because it helps your growth, not only as a physical growth, it helps your mental growth. And to be able to protect your body, the only body that you have, your vessel needs to rest. And your main machine of your vessel, outside of your heart and your brain, is your gut health, your
Yeah.
digestive system. So when you drink only water for one day, it helps you rest your digestive system.
Mhm.
Then that will stop you from having illnesses when you get old and when you get older and successful. Now you don't have to worry about it, it reduces the chances.
Mhm.
Then on top of that, when you go through that process, it's a sacred process, and you should start journaling more, visualizing more, talking to the universe and talking to God about what you want your life to look like.
Mhm.
The moment that my child can consciously understand those level of conversations I'm teaching them, probably when they can't even consciously understand, but they can unconsciously
Understand.
understand
Yeah.
it.
About what you put in your body. Fasting is interesting from that point of view, just from a food, water perspective, because I don't think I heard about dieting in that way when I was younger.
Right.
Probably not until I was like 21, 22, maybe. I can't tell you the first person
Same.
I heard was like, yeah, I'm fasting. Because I guess from a religious standpoint, people do it. But
It's sacred. People don't supposed to know it. From my
yeah.
understanding on what I understood about the Bible is that it was meant for you not to tell nobody so that
Yeah.
you can see that if you can't tell a person is fasting, that's the power of God. That is
Yeah.
like showing them that
Mhm.
that they're not weak, they're not frail, they're not weak. They're like you can't tell that they've been withstanding from putting food in their body. That was the like overall thinking about why
See, that's
you
interesting.
don't tell anybody about your fasting because you're supposed to appear very strong. And if you tell people you're fasting, then they'll look at you like, oh, that's why you look like that.
They're
Oh,
concerned, right? Oh, you need to eat or you need to, but your well being. I mean, I don't feel like Ty, you seem like you haven't had a meal
no,
in 21, 22 days.
no.
But did you feel like, okay, I want to hear about fasting with your manifestations, but was there a point where you can realize a change in your body during your more liquid fast?
Not more so in my body, but definitely in my mind.
Hmm.
Physically, I probably lost about 5 pounds, give or take. I lost it more like in my stomach because it was like
Yeah.
small little. puds, stuff that was probably starting. But mentally, I feel like that I just had more clarity to understand things and communicate better. Um, and it opened up a light to me on how much people don't communicate properly, how much people forget that they didn't communicate properly, and how much things people just forget in general, how much people don't have integrity. It's been like I've had so many loud things because it's nothing really distracting me mentally, internally, from being like clogged or being blocked from seeing what some realities are. And so now I'm speaking towards them in like a calmer voice because I'm like, oh, this isn't true. And I have to showcase and have the right language to do that, right? So mind you, I'm having these fasts while I'm doing executive training.
Yeah, I was about to
Like
say,
my
yeah.
executive coach, my media coach, I'm doing that while I'm on these fasts, but I'm still traveling, I'm still taking meetings, I'm still doing this, I'm still operating the business. So I'm seeing so much of like people's flaws and things that they should be working on. And I'm also able to solve problems quicker for myself and the company and things of that nature. So for me, a lot of it has been very, very enlightening. And on the manifestation part, it's just been me. I just I'm only manifesting. Not only my priority manifestation through this um, is a healthy body, man. Because all these dreams that I want to come true, if they never happen, I just care about having a healthy body and being able to really live. Like if this level of where I'm at currently is my life for the rest of my life, I'm cool with that as long as my body is healthy. Because I don't want to wake up at 70 years old and not be able to move around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't really care about the money that much. I care about controlling my time and making sure that I have a healthy body. So my manifestations was more about reconfirming that the body and all of these different things is real. This is so crazy. I went to the doctor because while I was on this water fast, my mom was so funny. My ear, something started going on with my ear. And it made it seem like I couldn't. Like it feels like water was in my ear. Like you know how you go swimming?
Yeah.
That water was in my ear. And I was like, I can't get this fucking water out of my ear. So I talked to my mom. She was like, that liquid fast, that liquid, got that liquid in your ear. I'm like, yo, you gotta chill out. And she didn't say that verbatim. It just felt like that's
That's
what
what
she
she's
was
saying.
implying to,
Yeah.
right? So I went to the doctor. Before I went into the doctor, I had a pretty heated conversation, right? And when I say heated, meaning there's a back and forth. I'm like, nah, because I'm in the midst of solving problems, holding people accountable while I'm on this fast. And I go into the doctor and they're like, your heart rate is too high. I'm like, yeah, I just gotta finish arguing.
Yeah.
And it was like, she was like, the nurse was like, put your phone down for like 10 minutes. We'll come back in, we'll check it in. The doctor come in, he's like, yo, why your heart rate so high? I told the nurse I'd been going back and forth with people. So there was some earwax on my ear, like in my ear, like on like where I couldn't like I can hear this.
Yeah.
When he was doing this, I couldn't hear it.
Wow.
So on top of that, that probably was worrying me.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't hear.
Yeah.
And so he did this I think it's saline, some type of wash in my ear, like 3 flushes, is like a whole bunch of brown waxy shit that was coming out of my ear. And then I could hear again, right? So then by that time my heart rate had went down because I knew why it was up. And so through that, through these different processes, even at the doctor, I didn't get him to run no blood tests or nothing like that.
Okay.
Because I just wanted to get my ear like looked at. But I don't really have no real clear way to know like how did my body inside repair itself through this 20-day process,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
So my manifestations was so focused on that because I got to do my research to see. I didn't do a good health test before I started this.
You just jump right into it.
I just jumped right into it.
Yeah.
I didn't start with like a baseline parameters of where my body was at. So
And you didn't do like a soft fast either. You just jumped right into the.
it was straight into it.
Yeah.
I literally got back from vacation on the 1st. I started the fast on the 2nd. So from those different dynamics of the conversation, I'm just like, man, my manifestation has been really focused on my health. It's not that I feel like I'm unhealthy or none of those different things. I believe in doubling down on it, right?
Yeah.
If my only wish from a genie came, I would just say, however long I live, I want to be as the healthiest version of myself. That would be my wish. It would not be for riches. It would not be for none of those different type of things. My number one wish would be, I just want the healthiest body possible while I'm here. I wouldn't ask to live for forever.
Yeah, I was about to say
I wouldn't none of that.
wouldn't ask to live for.
Nope. I would just want to be, while I'm here, I want to be so healthy for however long I'm here. That would be my wish to the genie. What would be your one wish?
Hold on. Well, let me tell you why that wish is so interesting. Because I was reading a story about someone that had a chance to make a wish, and they wished for eternal life, right? They could live forever. They did not realize they did not ask for it, like eternal youth. So they just kept getting older and older and older, and their body just withered, but they couldn't die because the wish they asked for was short-sighted. Your wish isn't quite short-sighted because you might live to be 175. You know what I'm saying? Because you're so healthy. Versus someone that wants to live forever but gets to 350 and can't get up out the bed.
I don't want to live forever.
No.
If I was asked this wish 20 years ago, I'm pretty sure it would have been a different answer.
Yeah.
But at 40 years old, all I care about, number one, is my health. Mentally and physically. The financial part of the health, I feel like you can control that based on your mental and your physical activities.
Yeah.
But so I've been trying to write things down through my manifestation, but I just keep coming back to, man, I'm just trying to be healthy.
Yeah.
I want to change this. I want to look this way. I want to take vacations. I just want to be healthy, physically and mentally. Your one wish.
See, I wish you didn't go first. Because I would have fucked up. I would have been like, give me some money, Ty. I want some bread.
Money.
I want a lot of fuck you money. But honestly, I don't know. Because I know how short-sighted a wish can be. And I would want to have a wish that would fulfill something necessary. I would wish for the best clarity I can have in this body. I think clarity is so important. When you have it, you feel like you're able to make choices, like the proper choices.
Right.
I don't think a right choice and wrong choice obviously can be subjective, but there's a lot of choices you make without clarity that turns out to be detrimental. And when you look back on when you made that decision, it was because you didn't have like all the clarity you needed. I also have realized how much affects people clarity.
Right.
Your conversations with somebody can take you out your place so crazy. Maybe you had the clarity to be like, I'm not letting this person get me out my body like that.
Yep.
Your heart rate wouldn't be so fast.
Right. Your mouth won't be dry.
You know what I'm saying? Also, I picked up on the fact that, you're fasting because you want proper body health, but your ear was still affected. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what might happen with your body.
Right.
You just have no idea. You don't know what might cause that thing, but you still should have the clarity to know I need to be fasting. Because again, imagine if you had poor eating habits, your ears messed up, you arguing, your heart rate up, your cholesterol's up.
Compound interest on that body.
Come on, man. You're going to be 275 pounds and
disgruntled
every day. So yeah, I think I just want clarity. I think especially when I think about not just fuck you money, but just like business in general, our lives are becoming more and more deeply connected with the businesses that we create.
Right.
You know, I mean, everything, your social media business, your relationships become
Personal
business. You know
brand.
what I'm saying? Everything becomes a business, and that can be a positive. It can be a negative. And I think that the clarity that you have navigating your life is instrumental.
You want to know the number one thing that's been disappointing for me in the last 20 days
Right.
is hearing the people's response on if they would be able to do a fast for 20 days. It is disappointing to know that people do not believe in themselves that much.
Mm.
Like the response is, "Oh, I could never." Like, oh Lord, no, that I could never do that. I'm just like,
Yeah, actually, that's the first thing people think. Like, nah, I can't do that.
and it's like, it's very telling
Hmm.
because it's not about that you can't do it. It's the belief because your body can do whatever you train it to
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
Is the belief. So if you, first of all, it's harder to get rich versus a 20-day fast.
Everybody want to get rich though.
It's actually harder to make $150,000 consistently a
Yeah,
year
yeah,
for 5 years straight
yeah.
versus a 20-day
That
fast.
fast, yeah.
It's actually harder to find a relationship that's healthier
Hmm.
versus a 20-day fast.
Yeah, most people gonna believe they can have all the other things. Help relationship. I can get rich. I can make $150,000 a quarter a year. But 20 days without a pork chop, a chicken
Bro,
wing,
it is the most,
piece of lettuce.
like, I would hear it and be like, I, I don't know how to respond to a person telling me that they could not do something that is easier than getting a promotion.
Mm.
Like the thought process of it. And it wasn't health
Do
reasons.
do you know how many people like ballpark that you asked?
I didn't ask anybody.
Okay.
These are just conversations.
Yeah.
That's what makes it worse.
Oh, you're
I
just
wasn't I
talking.
wasn't like, man, you should do this 20-day fast with me.
Yeah. Oh man.
The only person that I asked was my brother, my younger brother.
Uh.
Man, he was just like, I don't know about that, man. I can try to start slow,
Yeah.
but
See.
like I mean, it's disheartening that people don't believe in themselves. But it's really hard to make money. It's hard to get a home loan. It's hard to get a car loan. It's you might can get a credit card easier than doing a 20-day
Unfortunately,
fast.
but there's probably a
Unfortunately,
reason why you can get a credit.
there's so many things that are harder to do in life versus a 20-day fast.
But it's the idea, Ty. The idea people look at it from afar. Like I gotta go 20 days. I gotta go 20 days versus, I can wake up tomorrow and be like, let me go try to get that car.
The saying goes, I don't know where this saying comes from.
Yeah.
To break a habit, you need to do it for 21
Two.
days.
Yeah.
To break a habit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, it's
Is it
28.
28 days?
28 days, right?
Okay.
So it's like now we're getting deeper into like breaking habits. So
Yeah.
if you can't do a 21-day fast,
Fast.
you can't break a habit.
If you got a bad habit, you probably will have a hard time breaking that.
So,
But see, I mean, I feel you because I did this, man, 2021. I think the first fast I did was like 100 days, just no sex. No sex, nothing sexual. Before I got started, I had asked like a bunch of people, hey, bro, do this with me. Hey, do this with me. Hey, bro. Man, I remember I called one of my homies. They in a relationship. They're like, no, get off my phone. Like, but I'm just hitting all my, because I mean, I could have did it by myself, but it was fun
to
after
have
a while
like a
to be
community with.
like, hey, hey, let's do this. Because it's to me, 100 days, it's 3 months. Like, this is easy. I think we end up having 6 people end up signing up with me to do this. One got knocked out in 4 days. I think one made it a week. It was dwindling down. I think by the end it was maybe like 4 of us.
Yeah.
But then after that, I got like a fast kick. I'm like, ooh, I'm cutting out this next.
Yeah.
I'm about to do. We started doing. I did 100 days. Music fast where like you can only listen to a new album. You can't listen to no old music you heard before. 100 days, only new music. Like just trying to find things because there was a rush to the challenge of being like, oh, let me eliminate something. But I realized how many people they would hear the challenge and assume, bro, I can do that.
Right.
You doing 100 days and I can't play College Dropout? Nah, I can't. Like I got things I like that I really want to lean on. And I feel like comfort is scary like that sometimes. You get so used to something that I gotta lean on that because if I don't have that comfort food, Ty, like if I can't come home and have, my man V, my Caesar, if I can't have my Caesar salad,
Right.
I might day 12, I might be yelling at somebody. Like I think people just create
It's a certain
all
level
the
of
things.
comfort, yeah.
Yeah, it's like if I don't have that thing to lean on.
So that we're clear, I fasted from sex as well.
Okay.
While doing this 20 days, the sex fast actually started a few days before the actual liquid fast.
So you're just not doing anything but work. you're just working. Okay, fine. Sounds like I don't want to enjoy anything. That give me no pleasure.
When I was in Toronto,
Yeah.
I had this freshly squeezed orange juice that I watched them squeeze. Oh, that shit was so good. I went there like twice while I was in Toronto. It was really hidden.
Yeah.
But community fasting, community investing, community uplifting, community information sharing. We had about 6 people on this fast, and I think probably only 2 did the whole fast. I gotta double check and see, but it was like, hey, this is fun. Let's like make it fun. Let's crack jokes. Let's talk about the
a
ups
group
and the
chat.
downs.
This is
Yeah, I think, and it is what it is. Everybody's still on a personal journey.
Yeah.
So there is no judgment if you fall off the wagon.
Yep.
It was actually encouraged like, hey, if you fall off the wagon 4 times, 5 times in 20 days, that's still incredible.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
we not, it wasn't a judging thing. If you fell off the day, if you did 10 out of the 20, that still is really great if you never really applied yourself like that.
Yeah. I mean, when I was Googling fasting, I remember like there's the soft fast.
Right.
Do 3 days, don't do 20. And I mean, I can appreciate the build up into something.
1,000%.
But
1,000%.
I think I have to jump in.
I
gotta go all the way in.
Doing the 3 days.
I can't halfway do it because I'm not gonna learn nothing.
No.
I'm not gonna learn
enough time.
like once I say, because I think the first time I fasted off food was in Oakland. I was reading RZA's book, and RZA talked about how fasting was important for him and his path. He talked about not telling nobody that you're fasting, like, yo, just do it. So I think I did like the first 4 days. I didn't tell my boy who I was staying with. He had us doing these 4-mile walks in the morning. So then, but he noticed I wasn't eating. He was like, hey, bro, you can't really be working out like this and not have no food. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm straight. He went and saw his doctor. He came back. He said, my doctor said not to take you on walks no more until you eat. Because he was like, he's going to pass out and you have to carry him. But the thing was, I enjoyed every day of being like, how's my body reacting to this? And how am I feeling? Oh, I feel pretty good. I don't even really feel hungry today. So I feel really hungry today. You know what I'm saying?
So I stopped working out, but let me look at how many steps
how much
I was doing, right? Because the steps is still burning calories and
100%.
And so
your body's active
from jumping on planes, walking upstairs, all the things.
You ain't felt like lightheaded, no dizziness.
No, I ain't feel none of that.
Insomnia. Have you been able to sleep at night?
Yeah, I definitely been sleeping. That sleep been hidden. That sleep been hidden, but I ain't gonna flex. Boy, that sleep crazy. Sleep was the first thing I noticed. I was like, dang, the sleep crazy. Like when I actually wasn't, traveling and stuff like that.
Yeah, when you can actually think about it.
So when I think about the month, I've averaged about 6 hours and 16 hours of sleep over the last month. But when you look at the days that I fasted, it was
Yeah.
higher,
Really?
right? So it's higher.
Every
So
month, actually. Yeah, you kind of increase.
So it just increased every week, right? This week been tricky because I've been, working.
Right.
But when I think about my steps for the past month, which is going on that, I'm averaging,
Jeez.
still was averaging doing the fast.
6,000. I thought, Jesus, time was 10,000 steps a day.
So that's my goal, 10,000 steps a day.
Yeah.
So I knew that I do a lot of moving around. So if I'd have added working out on top of that, then it would have been a whole nother different story. So, but you could have still done the walks. You would have just had to double up on your fuel. So you would have been able to been like, okay, before the walk, I'm gonna drink a coconut water.
Yeah.
After the walk, I'm gonna drink a coconut water. Then for the rest of the day, I'm gonna drink waters.
Facts.
That's what you would have had to do for that. You would have probably had to drink coconut water before, take a water with you while you're walking. When you finish, drink another coconut water because that got nutrition like that you can replace in some level of that thing, and you would have been fine. But people.
But again, that information, if the doctor would have said that, like, hey, make sure he's doing this versus being like, hey, don't take him.
Yeah.
But I think that's, again, to bring back the importance of information. At least now I know fasting. Last question, Ty. Do you recommend other executives to think about dieting and fasting in this way?
Absolutely. Fasting is a strategy that you can apply as much or as less as you want to. But I think every executive should be thinking about their diets because work is strenuous. Life is strenuous. My cousin was just talking when he was listening to me going back for the phone. He's like, man, he got a lot of problems. I said, it's a price it's a price to pay on every level of life.
Damn.
It's a price to pay on every level of life. You just got to build your tolerance up that price don't affect you, how it might affect the next person that's unhealthy, mentally or physically. Then the rest, it is what it is, man.
And that is another episode of Fuck You Money with Ty and Yo. Tune in for the next episode. And please share this with someone that might need the information.
Yes. Share the information.
Share the information.